Hi everyone and welcome to episode 2 of the Wool Revolution podcast. I can't believe that you are watching and that there were so many people watching the last episode. What can I say? Welcome, I'm so glad that you are here. Thank you for all the comments and thank you for subscribing, all of that stuff. Obviously I did end up uploading the first episode and now I'm sitting here today recording number 2. So I'm super happy about that, and I'm sorry if the sound is very low. I'm recording on my phone, so I can't really do anything about that. I'm not going to buy an expensive video camera for this, not right now at least, so I'm gonna have to stick with the phone, but I'll try to speak up as much as I can so you won't have to tune in and concentrate too much. Today I'm going to talk about pretty much the same stuff that I talked about last time, and it's been a little over 3 weeks I think since I uploaded the last video, and that's kind of the interval I think I'm gonna go with, so every 3 or 4 weeks. I don't knit all the time. I know there are so many people out there that manage to knit a lot, and I'm super jealous because I don't know how they manage. So I knit. I don't want to record if I don't have anything to show, and if I don't knit, I won't have anything to show. So, and I don't want to feel like pressured, because I kind of felt like that for this episode, like I need to finish something, I need to have something to show. I don't want to feel like that, so I'll try every 3 or 4 weeks, but maybe longer if I haven't had the time to spend on my knitting. So there's that. And today I'm wearing my only petite knit garment, or petite knit anything really. And there are some podcasts that are just like petite knit showroom, because they knit so much from petite knit, which I understand because her designs are great, like true classics, but I do take pride in this being my only petite knit pattern that I've knit. So this is the Stockholm slipover V-neck, the V-neck version, and I think I knit it in the suggested yarn, so, or I don't know what the suggested yarn was, but I knit it in Sandnes what's it called? Tynn silk mohair. My god. Alright, let's go. 5 minutes in. Sandnes tynn silk mohair together with some merino yarn, probably some Sandnes yarn. Yeah, like pretty standard. And as you can see, it's quite big. Like the shoulders are super wide, like they almost fall off, and the V-neck is very much a V-neck, and yeah, it's like overall pretty loose fitting. I think it's grown, like it was big already when I cast it off, like bind it off, but it has also grown a bit, and I think if I wash it, it will tighten up a little bit, but I don't want to wash. Like this is the kind of garment that's like there's no reason to wash it really, because like unless it gets dirty, of course, but it's not gonna like start smelling, or like if you get sweaty or anything like that. So I'm a bit hesitant to wash it, but at some point I'll do it. Otherwise I'm really happy with it. I've used it quite a lot, and it still holds up pretty nicely. And yeah, I mean, I don't have anything to say about it really. The only thing I remember that was a bit of a struggle was the what's it called? Picking up the stitches here around the arm. Like, it's really, yeah, it's big. It's a big hole, and I did try to. I think I picked up way less stitches than what was told in the pattern, just to like tighten it up a little bit, but still it's really big. Yeah, all right, let's get on with the knitting. So first of all, I have sort of finished my striped sweater. And when I say sort of, this is what I'm talking about. There's still some ends to weave in, and I haven't blocked it. So no washing for this one just yet. I just hadn't had the time. But I finished the neckline. Just tug it in there. Pretend you didn't see. I finished the neckline yesterday, and I was a bit worried. Like, it looked so puffy, and like it stands up really weirdly. But when I tried it on, it actually looked okay. And we'll see when I wash it. Maybe it'll be even better. Otherwise, I could just reknit it. It's not a big deal. And I talked about this in the last episode, so I'm not sure if I have so much more to say about it. Oh, I have hair everywhere. But it's easier to see now sort of how I knit it. So this is like a basic top-down raglan sweater, and I wouldn't call it a pattern, it's more like a recipe or a tutorial, and I've used it for all my top-down raglans, to be honest. It's called improv, the improv pattern, just improv, I guess, if you can find it on Ravelry. It's a really good step-by-step tutorial on how to basically knit your own top-down garment. You know, no matter what yarn you're using or needle size or anything, it sort of helps you calculate, like you measure yourself and you calculate sort of how often you should do the raglan increases and when you should split the body from the sleeves, and it helps you through all of it. And I love that tutorial. It's Karen Templer who's behind it. She had a really good blog. Unfortunately, she doesn't blog anymore, but she has, I think her brand is called Fringe Association, and I'm not sure what she does now. Like, she did sell like bags and stuff. I'm not sure, but Karen Templer, you can check her out. Her aesthetics is super nice. She has a very like clean style. I think she both knits and sews, and like a creative genius in my opinion. And I do recommend that tutorial. Actually, that would be kind of a really fun thing to do, to have like a knit along with that tutorial, because then everyone can do whatever they want, and it doesn't cost you anything to buy the pattern. It's free, and it gives you so much more than just a pattern. It gives you the tools to start designing for yourself, really. And that's, I mean, I'm all about that, and that's also something I really want this podcast to be all about and to help you with, if that's something you're interested in, because I'm learning that now, you know. Like, I'm definitely not an expert. But I try to knit without patterns as much as I can, just to learn, really, and experiment. So yes, I just wanted to get that, because you will hear me talk about that pattern or that tutorial a lot more, because I have at least a couple of more sweaters that I knit using that method, and this one included. So basically what you do is you cast on the stitches here, not the, I'm gonna show you the back side because it's easier. So you cast on, for me it's the pink stripe that I cast on, and you can see in the beginning I just knit back and forth, because you can see the pink doesn't add up here. Like on the front side, the orange is the first color, so you forget about the neckline, just because I knit that last. So I started with the pink color and knit back and forth, and I did short rows so that the pink color just got longer and longer until I decided it was long enough, and then I cast on, no, actually then I switched to the orange. Let me see. Yes, then I switched to the orange color and cast on a number of stitches here in the orange, and then I started knitting in the round. So that's that's one method to get the neckline to be or the neck to be higher than the front, the back of the neck higher than the front of the neck is what I'm trying to say. And because it's a striped sweater, I talked about this in the last episode too, I think. Like, I had some difficulties with, you know, this shaping, just because, you know, when you're knitting a striped sweater, there will always be a jog, like there will always be a place where you can see that you switch the colors, because when you knit around, you don't start and end at the same place, because it grows and it's sort of like a spiral up like this all the time. So the end of the row will always be a bit higher up than the beginning of the row, the round, sorry. And that's what you try to avoid when you, yeah, there are a few different methods for that. If you search on YouTube for like jogless stripes, you will find a lot of help to reduce that contrast when you switch colors. But here I ended up placing this jog here in the front, so I think you can see. So it doesn't really look like a jog, it's more like some uneven, like an uneven vertical line, basically. And I think that's okay. I mean, it has to be somewhere. Like, it could be in the back, it could be in the front. No, it's in the front. And I don't think it's not that visible that I'm gonna be bothered with it. So basically that's like where my beginning of round ended up being. And the sleeves are, I decreased like all along the sleeves every like second orange round, I think, yeah. So like these kind of intervals, I decreased 2 stitches just to keep the sleeve kind of fitted, and a 2x2 rib for the cuff and the bottom here, and it's a bit cropped, and we'll see how much it grows when I wash it. And I used Ramma Finull. I feel like I'm repeating myself from last episode. Ramma Finull 3.5mm needles and 3mm needles for the cuffs. Give me 1 second, I'm gonna try it on for you so we can have a look. Ta-da! Here it is. So maybe you can see what I talked about with the neckline. Like, standing up a bit too much. I want it to be just like laying flat. But like I said, I think that will, maybe that will happen when I block it. And yeah, it's, I mean, this is color for you. Like this is bright colors. So yeah, this is like a bit of a statement piece. Not too much, but yeah, you will definitely see me coming when I'm wearing this one. And like I said, it's a bit cropped. Now I'm not wearing appropriate pants, so I can't really show you, but yeah, I like it. And yeah, I'm gonna take it off now. It's very hot. So, back in my original outfit. The next project I'd like to talk about is something that I realized I won't be able to show it in the next podcast episode, because at that point it will be gifted already. But I'll try to remember to record a little clip so that I can just insert it into the video, just to show you what it looks like when it's finished, because it's not finished just yet. And that is the granny square blanket I was working on, the baby blanket. And this is sort of what it looks like now. So it's almost, I'm almost done putting it together. Up here you can see they are all connected. The method I used for connecting the squares was called slip stitch front side something. Let me have a look. Slip stitch on front side. Yeah, I was right. And I just YouTubed like joining granny square, and just I found a video with 7 methods to join them, and I just picked the one that seemed that looked nicest and seemed to use not that much yarn, because this is all that I have left of the beige. It is not much. I mean, it would be so awful if I didn't manage, because I'm still, you can see here, they're not joined, so I still have a little bit left. And ideally I would like to knit something in the same color, in the beige color around here, like as a border of the whole blanket, but that seems impossible, and I don't want to buy more yarn just because, just for this, because then I need to find something else to do with the rest of the yarn. So one option is to, we'll see, obviously I'll have to wait and see until I've blocked it, because now it looks really uneven. But it would be nice to have a border, because I think no matter how much I block it, it will still have this like wavy shape. That's just, you know, how these looks, at least when I do them. I do have a little bit of the gray. Let's see if I have it. So I have this much of the gray. It's not much, but it could be enough for a border. Well, can it though? No. This is basically nothing. Oh, I thought it was more. In my head it was more. Hello? Do I have more yarn? No. We'll see. Oh, and the thing that worries me is that, you know, I really don't want this to be sloppy looking. Like, it needs to be very neat, because I'm giving this to a baby that hasn't been born yet, but it's one of my oldest friends, who's the mother, and I mean, she likes nice things, so I I want to be able to give her something nice. And of course, like it's okay if it looks handmade, but I don't want it to look sloppy. Yeah, so that worries me a little bit. And of course, like if you're like reacting to me saying that this is a blanket when it's like not very big. So maybe this isn't, I should stop calling it a baby blanket. It will be more, I'm thinking it can be more of something like snuttefilt, that's what we call it here. Everyone has a snuttefilt when they're a baby. And that's just a piece of fabric that makes you feel safe. So yeah, maybe this could be it for this baby. Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna wash it when I'm done, and I hope all the uneven parts will work themselves out. Now, I mean, you can see that the seam is very tight. That's why the squares are kind of wobbly, because the seam is sort of constricting them to be in this area. So I'm hoping like this will happen. I will maybe have to block it quite aggressively for it to look nice. I mean, one option is for the border, like I use some other type of yarn, but I don't know what would work with this. You know, I would have to use something that I already have, and first of all, I don't have that much yarn in this weight. Like, this is quite thick. I have like lollipop yarn, but that's scratchy yarn, and it's very different. Like, the style of lollipop is very different from this. So I could hold something double, I guess, but also like these colors, I showed them in the last episode too, but all the colors are so nice, like super vibrant, and yeah, hard to match with anything that's not as vibrant as this. Oh, you see my nail polish is coming off. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Like I said, in the next episode I will try to put a clip in for you, so we can have a look at the end result. Next up is oh yes, this one we can talk a lot about. So last episode I showed you a shoulder. That was all I had at that point. I wanted to knit a saddle shoulder sweater in lollipop, and I had done one shoulder, and I continued with the other shoulder, just a little shoulder flap, and I knit the back and the front panels, and then I decided I wasn't happy with it, so I ripped back the whole thing. And I will insert a clip now that shows you what it looked like and basically why I didn't want to continue with it. So check it out here. Okay, so here is my saddle shoulder sweater, and before I rip it out, I just want to show it to you and explain what's wrong with it. So first of all, like I just cast on and started knitting, so I didn't measure anything really, so I kind of expected to have to redo it. So one thing that I'm gonna change when I reknit this is the saddle shoulders. So you can see here I did kind of like a ribbing, but I think they will be a bit too puffy, if you understand what I mean. So my new plan is to do maybe a braid or something, braid or a cable up here that will run all the way down on the sleeve, and then the rest of it just stockinette probably. So that's one thing I'm gonna change. I'm also gonna change my gauge. I don't know if you can see. It's easier to see on this side, I think. But I changed my, maybe you can't see too much, but the gauge is much looser up here. It's easier to see on this side actually. Looser gauge, tighter gauge. Just because this is more my natural style of knitting. My purl stitches are a lot looser than my knit stitches. You can see like every second row there's a gap almost. But I'm trying to change that because I want it to be even. So here you can see it's a lot better, and this is how I want to knit. And I know that a lot of people say like you shouldn't experiment with your gauge, like you should knit in your natural way. You shouldn't have to alter your knitting style just to get gauge, which I mean it's a good advice, but for me I want to change the way I do purl stitches completely, so this is what I'm gonna strive for. But you just need to like get it into your muscle memory. That's it basically. So that's also something I want to change. And the final thing, I'm quite happy with this slope. I hope you can see the idea here, like the slope going down here, and then it's just straight line. And eventually I'm gonna put these two sides together in the middle, and I will just have this, I'll knit a flap out like this and have like 3 buttons maybe. So I'm happy with that, but the whole sweater looks very tiny. I mean, I expect that it will grow a little bit when I block it, but I still think, and I don't want it to be super baggy, like super oversized, but I still think it's a little bit too small. So, and like I think the shoulder flap is maybe a little bit too small too, so maybe if I do that a bit longer, and then I can cast on more stitches so the side panel is wider, and then of course the back will be wider as well. So that's the plan. Yeah, so I have re-knit a big part of it, so this is what I have at the moment. Ta-da! Oh. So these are the heel flaps. So they look quite different from the last one. So yeah, I don't know, the ribbing didn't work. So I just got an idea to do something that runs like along the neck here. And I googled like different charts for cables, and I found this one. So this is actually a diamond shaped cable and a little bobble in the middle, which I'm not sure, I think I messed them up. Yeah, you can see here, like if you compare these two, I guess this one looks a bit weird. This one is better, this one is better. So I think because the way I do the bubbles here, I know there are a lot of different ways to do them. And I'm doing like knit in the front and the back and the front. So you have like 2 extra stitches. And then on the next row, you just purl across those 3 stitches. And then on the next row, you slip 2 of the 3. And then you knit the 3rd, and then you pass the 2 slipped stitches over that 3rd stitch. And I think where I messed up was, or I know where I messed up was when I slipped the stitches. because if a pattern says just like slip stitch, then you usually do it purlwise. So that's what I did. I slipped the 2 stitches purlwise at the same time. But that didn't look great. So next time I did it, I slipped them knitwise. So they kind of got twisted, and that's just made it look a lot nicer. But I don't know, it's not really a bobble, is it? Like you can't see it if you turn it like this. I have to like press it out to make it look like a bubble. But it's nice enough. It's nice enough. I'm much happier now with the look. And let me put wool on wool. So this is where it will land on my shoulders. And I did, I mean, this is bigger than the last one, so I managed to do that. We'll see if it's, you know, too big or if it's big enough. I have no idea. And I mean, next step for me now is to do the increases. Well, maybe not just yet, but this is the back. So the idea is that I'm gonna start decreasing here eventually for the, like, under the arm. And my method of knowing when to start increasing is basically I look at sweaters or t-shirts that I already have, and I just put them on a table or something, and then I put this on top, and then I sort of compare, you know, where's a reasonable point to start increasing. And that's actually a good tip. You know, if you do knit something like this when you don't really know what you're doing, it's really nice to compare it to something you already own and something that you like the fit of, so that you know sort of you can try to copy that as much as possible. And you know, obviously with this one I didn't calculate anything before I started, but it's okay, I think, because this is let lope, like I said, so it's quite, and the needles are like 4, I think 4mm needles, or 4.5 possibly. So it's quite, it knits up quite fastly. It's quite of a fast, it's a fast knit. It's a fast knit, so I didn't mind ripping it all back and start over. But of course, if you have something more complicated, now obviously this is stockinette stitch, so it's nothing complicated really. But if you do have maybe a lot of cables and stuff, maybe that's not a good method to go about it. Like, maybe then you need to do some calculations beforehand, just to save you the stress and anxiety of, you know, messing up. What else to talk about? So for the front, yeah, I think I showed it in the clip. Like, I'm gonna do basically the same thing. Is there a way for me to show this in a like normal way? I can have it like hanging on, like this on my arm. This was actually quite good. Good, Helena. So I'll just pick up stitches here, and then I'll start increasing for the front here until it feels like the space that I have left, that's supposed to be the space for the 3 buttons, like the button band for the 3 buttons I want to have here. So I kind of like, I just do an eye measure of that, you know, when it seems enough. And no, actually I don't, I do measure that, now I remember, sorry. What I do is I look at, you know, looking at this part where what I already knitted, I can kind of see how wide do I want it to be, the button band. And if you didn't watch the last episode, I want the button band just for like 3 buttons, and then I want it to connect so I can knit it in the round. So it's like just a little short thing you can open and close here if you like. So I look at this and maybe like, oh, I want it to be, say, this wide. And then I know sort of how many, let's say maybe 8 stitches wide. And then I just know that because I want the stitches on the front and the back to be the same amount, so I know sort of I need to increase here until I have 8 stitches, like the total of this side and this side is 8 stitches less than the back side. I hope that makes sense. Because then I know they will add up, the front and the back. Now I'm explaining this very in a very detailed way, and I hope you find that interesting. Obviously, not knitting from a pattern really gives me the freedom to do that and to be very technical about what I'm doing and explain the construction and explain the number of stitches and everything like that. And I think that's, I really want to talk about that because I can, I don't want to be secretive, and I don't want to, this is what I think is, the essence of knitting, and this is what I like so much, to be able to figure these stuff out. And if I could, empower someone else to do that and to feel joy doing that, then, I would be super happy. So this is going to be a detailed podcast, every episode probably. And, maybe we can work stuff out together. That would be ideal. And, if you have any questions, just pop them in the comment section and I'll try to answer. But I'm not an expert. As you can see, I do a lot of trial and error. Yeah, it takes, of course, a lot of time. But it's fun. I like it. Yeah, I think that's where I'm at with this one. So next step, like I said, continue the back piece and figure out, how to increase, and then eventually stop. And I will stop at the point where I feel like I can join the front and the back under the arms. And then I'll just pick up stitches for the front as well. I'll pick up the same number for the front and the back. And then we'll see. I'll probably finish the body. Or maybe not, I'm not sure. I'll probably finish the body first and then I'll knit the sleeves. So there's that. Not finally. Next up is a little piece of knitting that I started this morning. I haven't come a very long way, but it's looking really nice. Oh, you can't really see how soft it is, but it's really, really soft. It's this yarn that I talked about in the last episode, the local northern Sweden alpaca, baby alpaca yarn. And someone helped me in the comment section that the word I couldn't find in the last episode was cowl. Although I'm not really sure if I would call this a cowl. Like, to me, a cowl is quite loose, like a tube scarf, essentially. But what I'm doing is basically a turtleneck, except a turtleneck without the actual body and sleeves of a sweater. So just the neck, like a neck warmer. Maybe, isn't that a word, neck warmer? That's the thing, right? I think that's what I'm doing. And I've just cast on with the tubular. Whoa, this is bright. Hello. Tubular cast on, which I'm not sure if I'm happy about, actually, because this is going to be folded down, and I don't know if it's gonna look nice with a tubular cast on. you know, if I'm gonna fold it down. Not too sure about that. It'll look so thick, you know. We'll see. And I'm knitting from top down, which makes sense because I don't have a lot of yarn. This is all I have. So what I'll do is I'll knit the collar section how I like it, and then I'll just knit as far down as I can until the yarn runs out. So then I'll be able to really squeeze out as much as possible from the yarn. And I searched on Ravelry for a free pattern, and I found one, but the pattern was deleted for some reason. So I'm just trying to figure out from the picture sort of how to knit it, and I'll put a picture here somewhere so you can see. But the idea is basically that you do a twisted rib until this point. Oh, you can't really see me, can you? I wonder if I've been showing stuff down here the whole episode that you haven't been able to see. But this one will continue down here, and then like the twisted rib will still be this section on the side, but in the middle it will be stockinette. I don't know why I'm explaining this when I just said that I'm gonna put a picture here so you can actually see it for yourself. Anyway, it's gonna be quite basic, like straight front and back, and we'll see how long. I have no idea how long this yarn is gonna how much I'll be able to knit from this yarn. So we shall see. And I mean, the halo of this, I mean, people talk about halos of fabrics, but this kind of fabric, you know, silk mohair fabrics, but I mean this one, I think you probably can't see what I see, but, and even the let lopi, like, this is a halo, I think. Absolutely stunning. So I'm excited about where this is heading. So the next project is something that I haven't started yet. It's an upcoming project, and I'm in the process of buying yarn for that project. I have a lot of difficulties buying yarn, to be honest. I suppose that's probably the opposite from many of you. I don't like consumption. I think that we buy too many things as a society, and we buy things that we don't need, and we don't think about what we're buying generally. And you know, I have even because I have so much anxiety when it comes to buying things, I've even created a separate bank account to which I transfer money every month. I have like a standing transfer, so every month money goes into that account, just so I can feel like that's money I have reserved for this hobby of mine, which of course requires me to buy yarn and knitting supplies, otherwise I have nothing to knit with. So I don't know if that's helped a lot, because now I just have a lot of money on that account and I still haven't bought anything. But now I've looked at buying plötulopi, which is this Icelandic unspun yarn, and I feel like I'm pretty late to the trend of knitting with unspun yarn, but I'm super excited to try it. And the thing that I want to knit is, listen to this, a cabled cardigan for my boyfriend, who is taller than me, wider than me. So it's a big project, and you know, I tried to, like, I showed him pictures of different cardigans, like, what do you like, what do you want me to do, and I tried to make him realize like, oh, this is so smooth, you know, stockinette stitch, very smooth and good looking fabric. But he looked so sad and just like, oh, I really want a cable. And I can understand that, you know, and who am I to deny him the pleasure of having a cabled cardigan? You know, I should have a cardigan with cables. I don't have that. But yeah, so buying yarn, it's difficult. And, you know, I'm quite jealous of everyone who has like a big yarn stash, and, you know, I don't really have that. I have one drawer underneath my bed, and that's it. Of course, I want to have more yarn, and I probably will get better at buying yarn. It feels really stupid when I say it like this, but it is the truth. Like, so this Plötulopi that I've been looking to buy it now for weeks, or like 2 weeks at least, but I just haven't pushed that button of ordering it to my home. Yeah, I wish I had a big stash, like I said, and, you know, it's really like I see a lot of people do like de-stash 2022, for example, with the goal of reducing their stash during the year, which is a really nice initiative. But I should have like just like a stash 2022 or like 2023 now, next year. Maybe it's the big time for me to build up my stash. And I mean, I don't want to sound like judgmental to anyone who buys yarn and has a big stash. You know, obviously I'm jealous of you, so but I still think like it has sort of come to this in the knitting world as well as, you know, the rest of the world, really, that, like I said, we buy things without thinking about it. And, you know, my values, they are very connected to the idea of being mindful of everything that we have around you, like who did this, or who built this, or where did the material come from, and what did we sacrifice in order to produce this product or whatever it is. So I'm not gonna have you know, in terms of like podcast formats, I know a lot of people have like acquisition parts at the end where they talk about everything they have bought since the last episode. I'm not going to have that. First of all, I don't buy enough to have that kind of section, but mostly that's just not something, that's not what knitting is to me, and that's, I'm not sure how to say it in a way that doesn't come off as, you know, condescending almost, but that's just not for me. Let's just leave it at that, and maybe I'll think of a better way to talk about this in future episodes, because this is a topic I care a lot about, and the knitting world has become very influenced by these like consumption forces and the market forces, and, you know, we need more and more and more, and like it's a lot of product knitting. And for me, you probably have figured out by now, like when I knit, most of it is process knitting, so, you know, I'm very focused on the process, so I can knit and rip back and re-knit and just do it for the fun of it. And then, you know, the finished product, of course, it needs to be something that I want to wear, or if I can gift it to someone, like it needs to be a nice product in the end, of course, but that's not like the main focus, I'd say. Like the main focus for me, and what knitting is for me, is to learn new things and to be able to have an idea in my head and actually make it happen, and to be able to create something from my own hands and my own brain. So yeah, I will talk a lot about this probably in future episodes. But now I'm very warm, so I think I'm gonna stop here. I thought in the last episode that the summer heat was gone, but we got a final kick now this weekend. So I shouldn't complain, but I'm super ready for the fall and colder weather, actually. Thank you for watching, and again, thank you everyone who's subscribed and who's commenting. Like, I love to hear your views and like your opinions and what you're knitting on. Let's keep the conversation up, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.